It's an amazing day. I'm Andrea Stuckey, the Divorce Liberator, and your favorite life and divorce coach. Listen up. I want to reply to a comment that I received on my YouTube channel regarding a video that I made about most women initiate divorce. And I'll insert a clip of it here. Statistics say that most women leave marriages or initiate the divorce. And I can tell you one of the reasons why. Having been a divorce coach for about 7 years, a majority of women, especially those who are working, feel that they're doing the emotional work in the relationship, the physical work, the cooking, the cleaning, the kids, the managing the household. And so it makes it much easier in that regard to walk away from the marriage because they feel that they're doing it all or most of it anyway. Just my 2 cents. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a video that most women initiate divorce, and it got people's panties and boxers in a bunch. But I said what I said, and I meant what I said. And the reality is, this is not to be an indictment on men or women. This really is just to raise awareness so that as a society, we can learn to work together and prevent all these divorces, right? We have to look at it as from a woman's perspective. How did we get to that position that makes us want to walk out? Were we doing our part? Were we listening? Were we sharing? Were we communicating? And the same goes for men. You know, what role can you take? Were you aware that your woman was feeling this ways? How are you handling the challenges that could be in your marriage around your children, around infidelity, around addictions, around abuse, around emotional challenges, whatever it may be? How can we come together to make it better? We don't have to take it personal, right? We can just look at the differences between men and women and look at the statistics and make a change. One of the things that's important to remember is it is a fact that most women initiate divorce. Let me read to you the comment that someone posted on my YouTube channel. So the commenter said, let's see if I can see. Okay. It says, okay, we will see how this is watching how many women initiate divorce. After Trump signs into law, they can't walk away with half the assets after offering little value in a relationship. Offering little value in a relationship. Let's talk about it. Okay, so first of all, let's see what the word value means, okay? Let's give a couple definitions because I'm about it today. Value, the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Remember, we're talking about a woman's value in a relationship. Number 2, a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. Again, we're talking about women's value in a relationship. And number 3, the numerical amount denoted by any algebraic term, magnitude, quantity, or number. Period. We're talking about the value. The regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of a woman in a relationship. Okay, so let's talk about deserving, importance, worth, and usefulness of something. Clearly, when two people get married, for whatever reason, there is a gamut. Someone feels that the other person, husband or wife, is deserving, is important, is worth, is useful for something. Correct? And that is why people enter into marriages, with the hopes of a lifelong commitment. We know that things can happen. We know that people can change, all those things. And let me say, first of all, I don't give 2 peas in a pod. That's a new one. About what Trump thinks and what Trump is going to institute. But let's talk about this whole concept of value and a woman's value. let's talk about marriage as an institution, as a covenant. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian, if you're religious, you know, there's a covenant aspect to it. And then we also know that there's a legal aspect to it, right? So there's spiritual benefits. There's also legal benefits of marriage. So push a pin in it right there. Men and women bring very different things to relationships, to marriages. And value is not always denoted in tangible items. And I think that's where things get misinterpreted, if you will. As a woman who's been divorced twice and has worked with divorced women for over 9 years in the space as a coach, and just being a woman over 50, mid 50s, and having been in places and spaces with many, many women, I am an advocate of women. I recognize that God has given women great gifts, and we bring a lot of value to relationships and marriages, both tangible and intangible. And so when we talk about value, and this gentleman's place of value for women, thinking only in terms of tangible items, is really very low level thinking. Because at the end of the day, when you're talking about relationships, when you're talking about marriage, when you're talking about building a family, when you're talking about instilling in children, if children are involved, when you're talking about affecting a community, when you're talking about affecting the next generations, when you're talking about leaving legacy and memories and changing mindset and breaking generational curses, let me tell you, those things take more than tangible items and money. It is this very mindset of this gentleman that has changed the nature of relationships. Because here's the thing. When you have a woman who and there's nothing wrong with any of this, so let me just be very, very clear. Traditionally, we had, back in the 40s and 50s, a lot of women stayed at home, a lot of women raised their children, a lot of women didn't work, and so you had this aspect of women as, cookers, cleaners, and diaper changers, right? And totally, there is nothing wrong with I have been a stay-at-home mom, so there is nothing wrong with that. And let me tell you, there is a lot of work in that space, right? But what happened with that is, unfortunately, during those times, women didn't have a lot of rights. Women were seen as less than, right? Through the laws, through relationships, through how they were treated by their own spouses. And a lot of times they really didn't have a financial position or educational background to do anything different. So they tolerated and they settled for a lot of those behaviors because there wasn't much else to do. But the irony is that because of that mindset of women bringing less value, to the relationship, you had in the 70s and 80s women becoming educated, women getting their own bank accounts, women getting higher education, women starting their own businesses and doing things and bringing that to the marriages. But then that seems to be a problem too. As a believer, listen, the word of God is true. The Bible says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor. And let me tell you something. There is nothing more valuable than favor. There is nothing more than a praying wife. There is nothing more value than a woman who's instilling values and taking time and nurturing the next generation. There is nothing more valuable than that. Right? And so in today's society, we have women who are doing it all. We are excelling in education. We're excelling in careers, and we're managing the homes, and we're managing money, and we're just all of that in a bag of chips, to be quite frank, not taking away from anything that men are doing. So let me be very, very clear. But what I'm saying is the value that you only place on money for women, or things, or items, or homes, or houses, just shows how, I said it earlier, low level thinking. But the reality is women are amazing. We are amazing creatures. And I'm not taking anything away from men, but we give life. We nurture, we birth, we have an intuition that you cannot explain. We feel things, we see things, we know how to make something out of nothing. We are overcomers. Women are doing it every single day. The stats show it. We're managing and raising kids alone. I'm not advocating for that, but I just want to be very, very clear. We are valuable individuals, and let no one else tell you anything different, whether it has to do with money, whether it has to do with whatever. Nothing is more important than how you think and feel about yourself. And so this commentary from this gentleman is really, really sad that he looks at marriage saying that women don't bring value to a relationship. Then why would you even ever get married? Then stay single. And lastly, as a divorce coach, and since we're talking about divorce, I do believe in fairness, right? Fair distribution of whatever has been acquired. But I will tell you this, as a mature woman, what I've seen is so many women lose out in their life for the time they spend out. When I say lose out, I mean, since we're talking finances or value, a lot of women put their careers on hold to raise their children, or slow down their education to manage the home, or to make things better for the spouse to excel, right? A lot of times these things happen, and unfortunately, when it ends up in divorce, the women make less money. The women have the children under their roof. The women still have to keep going in that space, which is very different from. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy for a man. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Divorce is tough for both individuals involved, even when you want the marriage to end for whatever reasons, right? But there are a lot of women who lose out financially, who lose out time they can't get back, who lose out, or there's a lot of stigma on women, right? Stigma on single women, single parents. 80, last I checked, I want to say 80, don't quote me on it, but you can look it up. Majority of women get custody of the children, right? So make it make sense to me. Just make it make sense to me. Okay, and really lastly, contrary to popular belief, in my years of being a divorce coach, majority of women are not leaving marriages to gain anything financially. Most women have met their, how can I say? Most women have reached their peak, if you will, of whatever situation is going on in the marriage. So whether there's abuse, whether they feel they're carrying the emotional load, a lot of women feel, as I said in that video, that they're doing it all anyway. A lot of them feel they carry the emotional load. They're trying to, keep the relationship going with their spouse, but the spouse is not responding. This has just been in my experience as a divorce coach for 9 years, okay? And have gone through my own divorces, right? But with women, very, very rarely is the goal, when they're initiating to divorce their husband, financial at all. Many women have given it all up just to leave. Many women have settled it just to have freedom, to get out of the bondage, spiritually, emotionally, or if there's infidelity or abuse, whatever it is, to leave. So contrary to popular belief of this gentleman, women are not divorcing to get your money. Majority. I'm not saying that there aren't some. So I don't think this will be effective for the nature and the reasoning of divorced women. I think what can be helpful is that we learn how to understand one another as women and men, because we are very different, and understand how to make those differences mesh together as one and have a unified, healthy, happy relationship. Will it be problem-free? Absolutely not, because life is not problem-free. But I still hope and believe in marriage and the covenant that God created for us as men and women. I'm Andrea M. Stuckey, the Divorce Liberator, your favorite life and divorce coach. Please, please, please comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. Have a wonderful day.